Welcome to Jesus Centric Life. I'm here with Pastor Josh. I'm Donna, and we want to welcome Sadie Hixson into our guest seat.
Hi.
It's good to have you with us.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
It was a little tough to get you in. You're a senior at Lutheran. You just graduated.
Yeah, I just graduated.
Yeah, no longer a senior.
Right? All done with high school.
And she's going to the best college.
I'm
so happy.
You're going to the University of Texas?
No.
What?
No, the actual best college. Go Oklahoma State.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What made you pick OSU?
It's the best.
Besides that.
Trying to change the subject here.
It's a really good college. I really liked it. And they also have a minor. So I'm majoring in nursing. And the minor that they had that I
Oh, don't tell yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to have you wait on that because I know what that minor is, but it also is a part of your story. So we're going to hold off on that a second. So, Sadie, I've watched you since you were little. You've always loved Jesus. You have always been a super active part of Peace. You grew up in a family where faith was a part of everyday life. So was there a moment where you realized this isn't just my parents' faith anymore? This is my faith.
I don't know if it was ever like an exact moment. I think shaping faith is a lot. It takes time, right? So it was definitely a big thing of it just growing into my own faith. But I think for me, the biggest part that was like, wow, this is my own now is when I got confirmed. Because I know that at least at Peace, it's a big deal of like, well, this isn't like, this is your faith now. Like it's on you to like really, make it your own. And so I think for me, that was really the point where it was like, well, now I got to like actually lock in. I can't just, keep relying on my parents for everything.
What were some things, going back to before confirmation, what were some things that your parents did that you're like, man, I really see how that helped with my spiritual formation?
Yeah, there were a lot of things. I was really blessed. I have really good parents.
That's cool when you can say that.
Yeah, right. But I mean, one of the big things is they always were big on modeling faith, like both in and out of our home, especially the kindness part of it. I think a lot of times when we think of faith being modeled at home, we think of like, strict, like disciplinarian, a lot of like that kind of stuff. And I mean, my parents obviously like they were parents, they disciplined us, but they were also really big on like, you always want to be kind to others, and they always wanted to show that through our actions. Both my parents are really big with serving others. Some of my earliest memories are us going to homeless shelters and helping serve dinners there and helping out at church. My mom was always really involved with VBSs and stuff.
And still is.
Yeah. Even here, but yeah.
Yeah, so that just kind of was ingrained in you.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you a story of your dad. We were getting ready to go to, I can't remember if it was Nebraska or the New Orleans disaster relief. And your dad, I could just see the pain of, what do you need? He goes, what do you need? Can I give you money? Do you need generators? Can I run to the store? What can I get you? What do you need? And that's such a gift he has of really feeling the pain that people feel.
Yeah. And my dad especially has always been, I think dads play such a big role, like in both sons and daughters, like growing up. And my dad has always been huge with, you want to serve others and, showing us through his actions that he wants to really show us to be kind to others and to serve others as much as we can. And that's always been one of his big things.
For sure. Both your parents, amazing. And we love them here at Peace. They've been a huge part of what we're doing here. And we're super thankful. But we see this not only in you, we see it in your other sisters also. It's just runs through your family, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, Leslie isn't in high school yet, so I think she's still kind of growing up. But I mean, Julia especially loves getting to do stuff through Lutheran. She loves serving on the mission trips. She's, as of right now, determined that she's going to Concordia, Nebraska. She's going to be a DCE. She wants to do ministry. And yeah, like she loves to serve others. Leslie too. Yeah.
That's great. That's great when your family has that. I got to ask, have you found a church yet at OSU?
Oh, I have to be so on it. So there's a Lutheran church on campus that I'm definitely going to check out. I think it's the same one that Pastor Josh had his Bible study at.
Sarah and I met at that church, actually.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
so,
very
you
good.
know, maybe I can meet my Oklahoma cowboy.
We'll do that on another episode. We'll do a check-in with you.
Oh, for sure.
So tell us a little bit about your capstone, and that leads into your major. But I wanted to hear a little bit about your capstone and what made you want to go.
Can we
direction.
pause, because you're using
yeah.
code, and I kind of know, but what do you mean by capstone? What is that? Yeah.
Yeah, so Lutheran, where I go to high school, they do...
Went to high school.
Wow. So I am
Yeah.
all done. Lutheran, where I went to high school, they do sophomore year. They have all of the sophomores, for the most part, sign up for what they call academies. And so it's different themes, and it's like kind of like, this is an area I want to go into. And so then they have you for 2 years. You do like kind of a self-study in that area, and you look into different jobs. Mm-hmm. And at the end of your senior year, you put a bunch of research together, and you make a big presentation on something you're passionate about, and that usually leads into something that you're going to do in the future. And it's something where it's like your entire senior year is working on your capstone, and your junior year is kind of doing the research behind it, right? So it's this big project that we are working on. And for my capstone, I did faith in action, serving through disaster relief, which was something that was really dear to my heart, because I know at Peace we do a lot of stuff here through disaster relief. Lutheran does stuff through it too. They do a lot of missions trips that I've been able to go and be a part of. And so, yeah, when I was choosing my capstone topics, I was immediately like, this is something I'm passionate about. This is what I really want to do it on. And yeah.
Share a little bit about it, like what you did it, what you had to say. Mm-hmm. You don't have to repeat the whole capstone.
Yeah. No, it was a presentation. It was about 15 minutes, I think, was what it was supposed to be. And I did mine. It was on disaster relief, and I did it a lot on mission trips I've been on and how that kind of influenced me for what I want to do for the future. Especially that one, we went, for context, 2 years ago now, in 2024, November, to North Carolina, right after Hurricane Helene, and we were in Asheville serving. And one of the biggest things there was that, like, I remember we went to this one area, and literally there had been a major landslide that had happened right after the hurricane. All of these people had been hurt and killed and everything, you know, and
one lady lost like 7 in her family.
Yeah, 7. It was something crazy. And one of the biggest things that I remember hearing was that she was like, there was no help for days after. Like, they didn't get anything for a week. We were there almost a month after the disaster, and we got there like the day after they managed to open the roads. They were flying things in, and it was just this crazy thing of that help had taken that long to arrive. Like, you could have been helping so many people. And I was like, that's something that, like, you can fix. Like, there's people that can help, right? And so I'm like, that's something that I really want to do. And so that's kind of what I focused on with my capstone, is kind of how you can impact that both on a larger scale and then like on a smaller scale individually.
Yeah, yours was more medically. You had the question, which I thought was amazing. I shared it with AIM when I saw them in Jamaica on the mission trip or disaster relief trip. But you had the question, how long does it take before medical help can get into an area that's been impacted?
Mm. Yes. So that was one of the biggest things, is as I started doing research, I started finding these numbers. And on average, it takes medical help. I think, I'm trying to remember the exact numbers, but it was close to...
FEMA was days.
FEMA, it was days, because the issue that FEMA and other like disaster relief organizations have is they have to get it approved by either governments or by higher ups before they're allowed to go in. And they have to wait until the disaster has ended, which means because of red tape and things, a lot of times it's taking 24 to 48 hours at least to get in there, which doesn't seem like a lot. But when you're thinking about people who are in life or death situations, That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we heard in North Carolina also a story of a house that fell on a woman. Her neighbors had to come and sit with her until medical care came. She could have died if it was days or weeks versus Samaritan's Purse.
Samaritan's Purse, that was, yes. So Samaritan's Purse is who I ended up finding as one of the organizations that I think does it right. And what they do is they do a bunch of disaster relief. And their big thing is they start organizing it as soon as they get notified that there could be a disaster or as soon as the disaster starts.
Wow.
So when you think of terms in like a hurricane or other things like that, like that's 48 hours at least earlier that they're organizing this. And on top of that, they have jets and planes and other things that they keep stocked to make sure that, like in the case of a disaster, they can have people on the ground in pretty much as soon as something ends.
Yeah.
Which we did see in North Carolina. They were a huge presence and had huge impact immediately.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think they were there. They had been there for weeks by the time we got there. And the other thing is that they just launched recently, I think, a medical portion to their disaster relief. So they're no longer just bringing supplies, which I hope it's okay that I mention it.
Now you can get to your major.
That's what I'm going to hopefully be doing. One of the reasons I chose Oklahoma State was because one of the minors they offer is an emergency management minor.
Oh, wow.
Which will give me a leg up. And so, sorry.
No, you're good.
But so the goal is Samaritan's Purse. They have people basically on call, similar to like what hospitals do, only instead of being on call for like 48 hours, you're on call for 4 to 6 months. And so if something happens, you get called up and you can be gone for as long as I think 3 weeks is the goal. And you get called into these areas for medical relief and you go in and you do that. And then once the immediate relief is done, then they bring more people in to help with like rebuilding and stuff. But yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah, I didn't know Oklahoma State had that. That's super cool.
Yeah, and super proud of you.
Yeah.
You know, we as your home church, like I came back and I was like, you got to hear what Sadie's doing.
Yeah.
But so cool to see what God planted in your heart through your experiences. And he grew, and now you're gonna take that and go, yeah. What are you excited about with that?
I really want to help people. Like, and that's, I mean, obviously that's always been the end goal, but I think this is such an area that people don't know a lot about, right? Like, you hear about disasters, and especially in the immediate aftermath, like, you know, you have churches, community centers, all of that are collecting supplies. They're sending it down there. They're collecting money, all of that. But people always look over the actual, like, hands-on nature of it, especially the medical portion. You have not only our hospitals overwhelmed, but you have all the supplies are in short staff. All the people are in, like, short supply. So I think it's just such an area, and we never hear about it either because so much of it gets just swept under there was a big disaster, so we couldn't have prevented any of this. And when you look at it, you see that it's true, like there was a disaster, but there's so much more that we can be doing to help.
What do you think that God is doing with the fact that your generation gets that we can step into disaster? I've said this for a while, that I was curious to see what God was going to do. Like a generation that's like now has a minor in being able to have disaster relief. But what do you think he's doing with that?
I mean,
like we can't assume to be God. But
yeah. Obviously, I'm probably going to say something on here and God's going to look at me and laugh and be like, you're funny, right? But I think like our generation is known for being outspoken and trying to, you know, speak out, and we want to be known for something. And I think disaster relief is something that it needs a change so much. And I think our generation wants to work on that and we want to help. And I think that's the thing that gets overlooked is we have a generation that we want to help in the end. Like that's the end goal. And I think this is one of the ways that it is good to help, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think it's good the way that Peace has done it, stepping in and like sometimes we didn't know what we were walking into.
Yeah.
You've been on a few of those, but Do you think it's good that churches are making efforts to do disaster relief even when it's a little messy and they're a little unsure?
Yeah, personally, I think that's amazing. And I think like continuing to do that is what we need, right? Just because saying we could do something better doesn't mean that we need to stop everything, right? And I think Peace does it really well, because Peace, not only do we try to go down in the immediate aftermath of the disaster, but North Carolina, it was huge. We went down afterwards, right? We went down almost a year later to help again. And I think that's huge, not leaving people just in the dust. And I think that's a big thing that churches do that gets overlooked, is sending down the supplies and then going down again afterwards.
How has it all impacted your faith?
I think, it's taught me so much, like personally on a faith level, but it's just, I think there's something to seeing people in hard times that really, it makes you question your faith, but it also, I think, is such a good chance to bring you back to faith, right?
Explain that a little bit.
North Carolina, I think, was a great example. I left that first mission trip and I was like, bro, like, God, what are you doing here? This is awful. Like, there's these people living in these horrid situations and we couldn't do much. And it wasn't that it was like we weren't trying to. It was that, like, there's just not much we can do right now. We're waiting for all of this. And it's like we were just stuck.
We were doing assessments.
Yeah.
And that literally is listening to people's stories. And you don't know if there's going to be help. You don't know if they're going to select their home. And in this woman's case, her home was in perfect shape, but emotionally and spiritually, she was broken. Yeah.
And I think just seeing that, and then you see, obviously when there's that much, like, that terrible events that happen, like, of course people are going to be like, God, what are you doing? And you see this anger at God, right? Which, obviously is expected. But I think going down again in the summer, we saw it, just the change was insane. Like, you can see how God's working, especially in Asheville. One of my favorite stories, I told it in my capstone, was we went on Sunday, when we went down the second time, we went to a church. And the church before the hurricane, it was a church, it was okay. It was struggling, but, they had people, but it wasn't a lot. And we got there and we were smart enough, we went for a coffee run right before. And if you've ever taken 20 people to a coffee shop, it took a bit longer than expected. Yep. So we got there and we were like 10 minutes late maybe. And there were, I think, people sitting on the floor because the church was so full.
Wow.
There were so many people there and they were just worshiping and everyone was happy to be there. And I think just through the help that people give, it was just so meaningful getting to see that, like, people are turning back towards God, even in terrible situations.
And I love that. And I love that you said, like, you almost paint, and I think you did, I understand you to paint, like, struggling in your faith is a good thing, right? So often we say, well, if I'm wrestling with God, that means I'm doubting or something's wrong with me. But I think, like, we want people to wrestle with God and, like, in safe environments, in healthy ways, because, like, we're not done as adults, like, wrestling with God. Like, we're going to do that the rest of our lives. And I think when we try to insulate or isolate our students and young people from, like, wrestling in our faith, we're not preparing you for what, like, the rest of life is, because we get to wrestle with God the rest of our lives in a way. And that doesn't mean we don't have faith. It actually means that faith is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And so I love that you had that opportunity to wrestle with your faith already.
And I think, that's something my parents also did well, is they always taught me, it's okay to have doubts with your faith as long as you don't want to wrestle with those alone, because wrestling with it's like any struggle. Like, when you wrestle with it alone, it's just going to grow and it's just going to cause more issues.
Yeah.
If you could say anything to your parents, to Lutheran High, to your church, what would you say? It can be encouragement. It can be
Jesus
a
loves
challenge.
you an option.
Sadie's known to stand up in church and go, Jesus loves you.
If I ever need somebody to say it, it's like, where's Sadie?
Yeah.
I would just say thank you, for sure. I think so many times, like, you don't know how big of an impact you're having, right? And I mean, my parents, my church, my high school, even, like, everything has been a part of shaping who I am, right? Like, I wouldn't be who I am without my parents. I wouldn't be who I am without this church and, like, giving me that passion for disaster relief, right? And I wouldn't even be looking into a medical career if it wasn't for my high school who, like, pushed me towards that, and having teachers that were like, you should check this out, right? So I think it's just a big thank you to everyone, right?
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. Really good.
No, it's good. Proverbs 22, and I think you're a great example of this. Proverbs 22:6 says, you probably heard it before, train up a child in the way that he or she should go, and even when he's old, he'll not depart from it. And I think like what I saw your parents doing, what I saw you leaning into, and kids don't always do this. They don't always lean into their parents teaching about Jesus, but I think your parents did what they could and then let God do the rest. And I think like that's all we can do as parents is to do the right next thing and do the intentional thing, the everyday thing, the weekly thing. And your parents were just so good about making faith real and visible and tangible. And praise be to God that you were able to lean into that, and and that you have this robust faith that you have now. That it's simple but yet deep, and I love that about you.
Do you have a lot of faith for the church of the future as your generation steps into leading the church of the future? Do you have a lot of faith?
I do. And maybe that's because I'm young, but a couple years ago, that was what I was really struggling with. And I remember I was with my mom in the car, and I was like, I just don't get why God would let all these people turn away, right? Like, we see people turning away, and I'm like, I just don't get why he would let that happen. And my mom said something, and I thought it was really good. And she said, you're right, I don't know, but I don't think God's ever going to let there not be Christians to share their faith, because that's not who he is. And so I think we're seeing a trend back towards Jesus. We're seeing people in need of something, and that is Jesus. And I do have hope, because I don't think God's ever going to abandon us or forsake us. He's always going to be there.
Well said, Sadie. Yeah. Well said. Wow. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here and to share your words with us. And just know we're praying for you, and we're excited to hear what you learn. And I hope you'll come back and share that with us. Yeah, for sure. And just know we're behind you 100%.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you. Thanks for joining us. And we look forward to our next Jesus Centric Life. Have a great day.